Hello dear students, how are you all? This is Praful and I welcome you all to One Page Biology. So in today's video, we are going to talk about some of the MCQs which have appeared in the NEET examination, and I'm going to show you that how we have to attempt the NEET MCQs. So in this particular video, let us see how we can actually attempt the NEET MCQs. This particular question is from the chapter Plant Growth and Development. So let me read the question for you all. The question says that growth is an important aspect of every organism, right? So especially growth is affected by different environmental factors. Now what happens is, in case of certain plants, you can very well see that initially when the plant is growing, when it is in its juvenile phase means the early phase, the pre-reproductive phase, when the sexual reproductive organs have not yet developed in that particular plant, right? So initially when the sexual reproductive organs, like the flower, has not been formed, such a phase is called juvenile phase, and post the formation of the reproductive organs, it is called as the reproductive stage. So in certain plants you can clearly see the difference as far as the structure is concerned. So in those plants you can see that the juvenile phase, the structure of that plant is very different in comparison to the structure of plant in case of the reproductive stage or the post reproductive stage. In the NCERT textbook, dear students, if you see the plant growth and development chapter, you can see there are two examples which have been given for plasticity, and one is cotton and another is larkspur. So now from this particular explanation, you can definitely go ahead with the option that is nothing but plasticity. Let's talk about the second question, dear students. The second question here is pretty much simple and straight away from the NCERT. So which of the following algae contains mannitol as reserve food material? Now, if you talk about the mannitol, dear students, it is again a stored form of polysaccharide, and as we all know that different types of polysaccharides are present in the cell walls of different types of algae. There are three types of algae, mainly green algae, red algae, and the brown algae, where green algae generally stores cellulose as the reserve form of food. Then red algae is the one which stores the floridine starch as their food, always remember that, and the brown algae is the one which stores mannitol as their reserve form of food. So here, out of the four options which I can relate, basically the second option, that is ectocarpus, is nothing but the example of a brown algae. Okay, so such questions you can see that straight away taken out from the NCERT textbook. So if you have to score well in NEET biology paper, you have to be well versed with every line of biology. Okay, now let's see the next question. The next question, dear students, is genera like Selaginella and Salvinia produce two kinds of spores. Such plants are known as. Here, dear students, both the examples are of pteridophytes, Selaginella and Salvinia, and we know that in pteridophytes, basically these are first land plants, the first terrestrial plants, we can say. We all know that there are two different stages, right, in plants. One is basically a gametophyte stage and the second is sporophyte stage. In case of pteridophytes, the sporophyte stage is well differentiated, and the sporophyte stage is actually made up of root, stem and leaves, which is a well differentiated stage. And the gametophyte stage is the one in which there is formation of gametes, that is nothing but the male reproductive organ as well as the female reproductive organ. So here the male reproductive organs or the female reproductive organs are nothing but the spores. In certain pteridophyte plants, both the spores are similar as far as their structure is concerned. So such pteridophytes are known as homosporous, when both the male as well as the female spores are same. Whereas certain pteridophytes produce different kinds of spores, wherein the male spores are smaller compared to the female spores, and such pteridophytes are called as heterosporous. So here, as they are asking us, if the plants like Selaginella and Salvia produce two different kinds of spores, right? So such plants are known as. So here the answer would be heterosporous. Now let's attempt the next question. Which of the following statements is not correct? Pyramid of numbers in a grassland ecosystem is upright. Pyramid of biomass in sea is generally inverted. Pyramid of biomass in sea is generally upright. And pyramid of energy is always upright. Dear students, again let me tell you one important thing. Here the question is asking us which of the following statement is not correct. You have to be very careful about these questions, dear students. So let us see which of the options, which of the following statements in this case is not right. So first statement says that pyramid of numbers in grassland ecosystem is upright. Yes, of course. So as far as the numbers is concerned, the population wise, the highest in terms of the numbers, it is the producers, then comes the primary consumers, the secondary consumers, then the tertiary consumers. So of course the answer is right over here. It is upright. Second is pyramid of biomass in sea is generally inverted. That is also true, because if you talk about the seas, the oceans or the water bodies, dear students, in those cases the population of algae is generally lesser than the zooplanktons. because the zooplanktons include different kinds of fishes, the aquatic animals which are present in the waters, so their population is high. So if you talk about their pyramid, as far as the biomass is concerned, pyramid of biomass will be inverted in case of the oceans or the rivers, the ponds, lakes, etc. So second option is also right. Pyramid of biomass can never be upright in case of the seas, the water bodies. So it is always basically inverted. So this seems to be a very much wrong answer. That's why the answer of this particular question will be C. And fourth, of course, the option which was saying that pyramid of energy is always upright. So that is true because as we see that the maximum amount of energy is always stored in the producers. The next question is, dear students, a typical angiosperm embryo sac at maturity is 8 nucleate 8 celled, 8 nucleate 7 celled, 7 nucleate 8 celled, and 7 nucleate 7 celled. So here, dear students, they are asking about the angiosperm plants. We all know angiosperms are flowering plants, and they are asking us the embryo sac of the angiosperm is of how many cells. So if you clearly remember, dear students, there are 7 cells. You can also see a small diagram over here, like for example, a typical angiosperm embryo sac consists of 7 cells, in which there are upper cells, upper 3 cells, the lower 3 cells, and inside the center there is a central cell which has 2 nuclei, right? So totally, if you see, guys, these are the 3 cells which are present near the micropylar end, and these forms the egg apparatus, wherein the 2 are synergids and the central is the egg cell. Then there is a central cell over here, wherein which contains the 2 polar nuclei, and the upper 3 cells, these are the antipodal cells basically, which later on degenerate, dear students. So the right answer over here is basically 7-celled 8 nucleate structure. So the second option is the right option. So let's attempt this last particular question, dear students. The question says that match the column. So options on the first column are protoplast fusion, plant tissue culture, meristem culture, and micropropagation. And in the second column, the options are totipotency, pomato, soma clones, virus-free plants. So the very first option, that is protoplast fusion. What do you mean by protoplast fusion? The protoplasm, dear students, is the living matter of the cell, which consists of the cytoplasm as well as the nucleoplasm, which is basically the fluid inside the nucleus. So dear students, protoplast fusion is the technique in which the 2 cells are fused, and what is formed is a hybrid version. So this is the best example, dear students, for the formation of hybrid plants, and they also form certain hybrid plants, like for example the tomato, which is done by the combination of potato and tomato. Plant tissue culture is basically a technique by which we grow the plants in the lab using plant nutrient medium. Plant tissue culture is mainly based on the principle of totipotency, which is nothing but the ability of any plant cell to divide, redivide, and ultimately form an entire new plant from that cell. So the second option, that is plant tissue culture, the right match will be totipotency. Meristematic culture is, it's a technique in which many cells are formed from a meristematic tissue. So the answer for that is soma clones. Fourth option, that is micropropagation. Again, this is a technique by which the tip of the plants is often taken to form the entire new plant, because the tip of the plant, that is the shoot apex, is generally the portion of the plant which is devoid of any particular disease causing agent, that is a virus, and that's why often the tips of the plants are often used for forming many cells of that plant. The answer for this is micropropagation is virus-free plants. So the right option is option number 3. So dear students, I hope now you have a fair bit of idea that what kind of questions do appear in the NEET exam, and it is pretty evident that the questions directly come from the NCERT biology textbook, that is whether it is 11th standard or 12th standard. See you all in the next video with some other biology related concept, dear students. Thank you so much. This is Praful. Take care. Bye bye.